Population will Population live. Hello, hello, welcome to Liberia Shall Rise. This is Dr. Positive and my own brother in our own state of Texas, Mr. Sapolosia. Welcome to Liberia Shall Rise, brother.
Thank you. 100% Texas today. So we rolling.
All right, all right. Let's show the people how Texas roll, right? Yeah. So how hope the family is doing well.
By God's grace, we're all doing well.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
everything's good. How's your family on that side?
Yeah, everybody's doing well too. Everybody's doing well. Kids are graduating. To all the graduates out there, want to say congratulations. It's been a busy week for all of us in all the cities and states. Everybody graduating. So we want to say congratulations to everybody out there. Thank you for all the hard work with all the distraction to see our kids still graduating. It's a miracle, and a blessing from God. So we want to say thank you to all the young people who graduated. Thank you to everybody who going to college and deciding to do something for their future. Or even if you decide to do a trade school, it still hats off to you because you will be building our roads, you'll be developing our community. So we want to say thank you to all of you guys. All right, Sapolosia, are you here with me?
I'm here. I think I don't know what's something going on the network or so. It's going in and out.
Okay. So let me do the quick introduction and maybe we can play a song and then share the show and then come back and get into this discussion. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Always ready. We're seeing the military.
All right, family. Again, welcome to Liberia Shall Rise. Today's topic is the disadvantages and advantages of concession agreement. Now, what I'm calling generation killer is concession agreement a generation killer? Does it kill the future generation? Does it put in things that will impact the future generation? These are the things that we'll be discussing this today on Liberia Shall Rise. We have so many concession agreements that have been signed in our country, but yet we are still underdeveloped. We are still struggling. Our children still don't have good schools to go to. So our question is concession a generation killer or is it beneficial to the country? So without going deeper into the topic, please join us, share the show, invite your neighbors, your brothers, sisters, your friends, tell them to get their cassava gravy, tawagi, whatever they have this day. Let's talk about the future of Liberia, our future generation. With so many kids graduating from high school, colleges, and things, let's talk about securing their future today by talking about our key economic pillar, concession agreement. So, Mr. Sapolosia, let's get a show started. Let's find a song to play for our audience and then basically come back and jump into there. I want to hear your take. I know you got something, the way it's acting fire right now. You got a lot to say. So I can't wait to hear your view on concession agreement. But let me play a song for us, then we can get started.
Oh, hail Liberia, hail. Oh, hail Liberia, hail. This glorious land of liberty shall long be
I'm back. Let's pause the song. It's a beautiful song as usual. Our brother Collins, we want to thank you for that great song. But concession agreement, Sapolosi, I know I've been talking. Let me hear your point of view when it comes to concession. A simple question to you, brother. Have it been beneficial for Liberia or has it uh, hinder our growth and development?
So when we look at what have happened in our country for the past 100 years now, because I think the first pronounced or renowned concession agreement that was signed was in the 1927, the Firestone Agreement. And we look at what was done then, I think it was something like 6 cents per acre, and you got them a 1 million acre. So 6 cents times 1 million, that's about $60,000. And according to according to that deal, I think one of the things that was on the backbone of that was the $5 million that was kind of put down. So if we just look at the overall view of what have happened over the years when it comes to concession agreement in Liberia, in my opinion, from all indication, in fact, it had not benefited the citizen of the country. And if we fast track to our days where we have the settlement, where you have the same what they call the same some SSIME, I know same or concession agreements that they have here. You have the B mounting and all the different concession agreement. They don't really benefit the districts, the citizens of these places that they are being established, right? So the money is not felt. It doesn't go. It don't trickle down to the little man. So if you ask a question about whether concession agreement is benefiting Liberia, well, I guess it depends who the Liberia you're talking about. Is it the Liberia that in government or the Liberians, the day-to-day activity, the man who bearing the brunt of the pollution that will come from those concession agreements? If you ask that, Liberia has not benefited from any concession agreement, in my view, over the last 100 years. Because even Firestone, with what they have taken from Liberia, right? They have not given, in my opinion, I don't think Liberia have benefited 1% of what Firestone have gained from Liberia. You and I in the States, if you go to a Firestone tire shop, you go in there, they got coffee, they got they got resting area for their staff, they got a restroom for their staff, they got training area for their staff here in the United States. Even the customer that go there, you got place to watch television, relax, air conditioning area, and all that stuff. Now, the place they're taking the rubber from, they barely have good education system there. They don't even have electricity in those areas. They don't have safe drinking water for the citizens, for the employees in Firestone, in Habel, and other part of Liberia. They don't have anything. So the citizens who are even working with the company, we're not talking about those that are just within the district where they are operating, but the citizens that work for Firestone, the Liberians that work for Firestone, don't get those benefits. Again, like I said, in America, the Firestone tire shop here, they have break rooms. In that break room, you got coffee, you got refrigerator, you got everything that you need in there to get cool water when you're tired, right? And enjoys relaxation. And for the customers, you have place that you watch TV. But then the place that they're taking the raw material from, they don't have, they don't even have anything to provide any sense of conducive living, put it that way. Because I don't want to say luxury living, but conducive. The minimum conducive living standard is not met in the Liberia area. So, my brother, the Firestone or the concessions agreements in Liberia have never, in my opinion, benefited the Liberian citizen. Only those that are in power.
Well, so Sapolosia, if we are saying that a concession agreement have never benefited our countries, even in other African countries, why does it keep coming back? It said how you call it, the devil hiding on a wet cloth, or how you can describe it. Um, that we keep getting it coming back and coming back. And are you kind of saying that concession agreement is definitely a generation killer? Because, for example, the Firestone agreement that you talk about, um, was signed for 99 years. Those who signed that deal, all of them have died. You can say almost all of them have died, right? And the children that thing's supposed to benefit, as you rightly described, Firestone basically is $1 billion company. They are all over the world. In Liberia, for the first time in our history, our budget reached. In this is historical, though, right? Our
Mhm.
budget reached $1 billion in 1920 in 2026, 100 years after we signed the Firestone contract. Can you imagine that? Firestone is a $1 billion company. They've been in operation for over 100 years. They've been a $1 billion company running. And then the country that they're getting the rubber from, for the first time in whole history, after 100 years, they just had a budget of $1 billion. Isn't that sad? How can that be possible, Sapolosia? How can that be possible that I own the natural resources, you are coming there to take the natural resources, and then you making more money than the person who owned the property? And Sapolosia, let's go back to the cost of the land first. Firestone pay six was it 60,000
60,000.
for 1 million acre of land.
Mhm.
60,000 for 1 million acres of land. So that means whatever gold, whatever diamond, whatever other resources was on that 1 million acre of land,
Mhm.
right, is owned by Firestone. That's the first thing, right? And Liberians only knew that Firestone was extracting rubber or was taking rubber from Liberia. Do we know if Firestone was digging gold? Do we know if Firestone was digging diamond? Do we know if Firestone was getting other minerals that they discovered on that land? Did the Liberian government have a way to investigate or to even check on Firestone to say, hey, Firestone, you pay for the land to just extract rubber, right?
Mhm.
Any other mineral you get on this land supposed to be for the Liberian government. Did we at any point in our history do that? For example, Tabolosi, I own a home in America, right? I only own on top of the surface, according to the deal that we signed. Only on top of the surface I own. Anything my landlord, the person that sold this land to me, own the mineral rights. So that means the water that flowing under my house is not for me.
That's why you pay for it monthly.
I mean, what option do we have when the people selling the land to you, they're selling the house to you, they take out the mineral right? You couldn't say, I won't buy the house because you own the mineral rights on it. There's no way, there was no clause that said, no, I don't want to give you the minimal right to my house. There was nothing there. It was like, do you agree that the mineral rights for this property is for the person that's selling this land to you? And it was either yes, there was no no. You understand? There was no no. So you may want to go and check yours as well. But imagine a country, if somebody selling land to me in 2026 or in 2017 can do that, what happened to our entire country? How can we sell a land, a crop is grown on it, we don't have rights to that crop? The minerals under that land, we don't have rights to it anymore. And then the contract supposed to expire, and we have some stupid precedent renewing the contract without saying, all right, Firestone, you have made enough from this. Liberia is now going to own this rubber plantation, and we'll start manufacturing our own rubber. We'll start manufacturing our own tires. We'll start manufacturing things that people use rubber for. Why can't somebody sit down in Liberia to think that we can own Firestone and do our own operations?
So when you ask the question about whether why we keep doing the same thing, there are so many factors, but very few tangible factors that I can identify right now.
Mm,
One is corruption. That is greed, where I feel that I must get everything. Two is for some reason most African countries, including Liberia, tend to negotiate from a very weak position, thinking that they need the investor more than the investor need them.
mhm.
They're where the problem is, right? They go to these agreements thinking that, oh, if I don't sell this thing, the guy is not going to go to another country. But that is not really accurate. Now we can sit and talk about the Firestone. Yes, we know the circumstances under which the contract was signed in 1927. But fast forward to 2005, 2008, and 2019, all the different amendments that came to it. Like you rightly said, The contract was to expire. It expired this year, 2026. Right? That was the end of the initial contract. That was the time Judy Bryan, who I mean, yeah, I think Judy Bryan, the guy, the interim government, should have said, no, we're not renewing this contract. Let's wait for the contract to expire so that Liberia can take over this. Right? Now, to give you the net, because Brickstone bought Firestone. So the net worth of Brickstone right now is $24.6 billion. Okay, the net worth of Brickstone right now is $24.6 billion.
Sapalosa, not cutting you off, you going interesting with this, but just look at the last line here, right? I want you to see this. It says the concession was highly controversial. The financial ties and upfront payment locked the Liberian government into a cycle of debt, giving the corporation immense political and economic control within the country. So tell me, brother, the people that re-signed this contract, they didn't see any of these things to say, all right, you're already punished or you're already made enough money, right? Once I think when the concession agreement, when that time expire, the properties will be turned over to the country, right?
Yeah.
Right. So at that point, the leaders like Ellen Johnson, who went to Harvard, our smart president, you don't think any of them has sense enough to say, all right, this thing, our country have lost a lot of money. Millions of people have died working for Firestone and they never benefited. Do you think that somebody in their red minds would say, let Liberia own Firestone and determine the terms on which Firestone will now operate going into the future? Do you think if Liberia has said, let's go and buy our own rubber, our own tire manufacturing machine, we buy our own paint manufacturing machine and start making tires for the whole of West Africa or even the whole of Africa, start making tires, even Liberia, all the wheelbarrow tire that we use, the car tire that we use, the keke tire, the motorbike tire. Imagine if we start manufacturing that in Liberia, how much job will we create? How many opportunities will we create for the country?
So, but again, I'll go back to my initial statement. The factors that are causing us to be stagnant as a country, to be underdeveloped, to be living in an abject poverty condition in Liberia. One, I said, was greed, because when people are greedy, they don't think straight. Okay. Another factor is these guys are wicked. Let me be frank. I mean, what are the people can say? Oh, you hate them. Now, why you saying it? No, it's not. The people don't love the country. The people that Ellen Johnson said they didn't love Liberia. They wouldn't begin president to pay debt to people who had nothing to do with whatever happened to her in the 80s. To be realistic with you. So people who don't love the country, they hate the country. So because they hate the country, when they're making decisions for the country, they don't think about what they're doing. Because there is no way you tell me you are, and that's why I always tell people, you cannot tell me you are educated when your education is not benefiting the people for which you say you serve. That's not education. It's not me saying I'm a laboratory scientist, right? But I cannot give you accurate laboratory results that will yield a benefit the patients that are in the lab. That every time I give her a result, the result end up killing the patient. Then what kind of education do I have? I don't have an education. So if you are the smartest Harvard graduate who's supposed to be the best economist at the time for Liberia, you became president of the nation, and our economy with all the resources are keen, you mismanage it, and you accept the responsibility and say corruption was the enemy of the state and all the stealing that went on. You took responsibility only to cover those. And the reason you did that is clear. Because according to the Liberia Constitution, which we need to amend also, is once the president is in office and doing certain things, they cannot be prosecuted for those actions. And that is why she took that responsibility and said all the corruption that happened, which she know most of her children were part of, that she take responsibility because she cannot be prosecuted for that. That's the reason she said it. So because people don't love Liberia at all, they were there to either pay debt because of what Samuel Doe did or past government did it, and we the innocent children of Liberia to feel the pain, even though they brought war and caused us to suffer and set us back hundreds of years. That didn't mean anything to them. So they come back, and when they sign this bookers or concession agreement, they don't care. Because they feel that their children are in better places and they'll be dead and gone when their grandchildren are suffering. So they will not be around to see those things. So that is why they signed this agreement. Not because they don't know, They know the consequences. You cannot tell me that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf have not studied the Firestone history to know what happened. Because these are things that people demonstrated about the Progressive Alliance of Liberia, the PAL and Moja. These are things, some of the issues they demonstrated about in the 70s.
Mm.
And she was part of some of those groups. So she knew about them. So we can't sit here and say, oh, they didn't know. No, they knew. But because one, they don't love their country. Two, they got hate in their heart. Three, greedy, right? Greedy. And then when they go to this concession agreement, they want to start signing a concession agreement from a weak spot. Instead of Dave trying to create a value added or resources, they don't want to do that.
So, Sabalos, I keep mentioning this point that Africans, or most African countries, especially Liberia, let's talk about where we are from. Especially Liberia, we sign concession agreements from a weak point, right? And doing my research, I also found some stuff on how a country can better sign a concession agreement. So let's take some example. What are some of the examples that you will have? I said, all right, when a country is signing a concession or doing concessions, how can it benefit the people? What would be some example that you give to our current government to say, hey, going forward, when we're signing concession agreements, these are the things that we should do in order for the future of Liberia to be right. So, for example, I was thinking that no president should have the right to sign any concession agreement that lasts 5, 6 generations. No president should have that. The concession agreement should have a limit, maybe 2 terms, 2 presidential terms to be the mark, right? In that way, the next president can have the right to look at that agreement and say, hey, we need to go back to the drawing table. These are the mistakes that were made. It's not benefiting our people. We need to fix this. Then we fix it immediately, right? Then signing something for 100 years, that means you, the president, you're signing something for the future generation that says, even if I die, I don't care on the impact of this thing that I'm signing. For example, the Firestone contract, everybody that signed it are dead, but the country is still poor. The children are still struggling. Firestone don't have any fitting university over there. The people housing situation is still deplorable. We were in Firestone, you don't have toilet in your house. Like you're saying, when you go to a Firestone tire shop, you got coffee, you got a bathroom, you got everything, air conditioned. The people that work for Firestone, their houses are deplorable. You toilet outside where the fly actually eating your poo while you poo-pooing, right? And burning their children and right on your poo, and then from there they bring it to your food and things like that. And these are, and then you leave from the toilet too. Your whole clothes is smelling with the fly and how you call it, manufacturing scent that happen between the chemical conversion. You are the scientist, you know the thing that go on when the fly convert the poo to baby and all the kind of stuff. Then, but when you leave from that toilet, you basically either have to go change your clothes or something, because once you leave from there, people know that you came from the toilet. So help me here, brother. How can we do something that will benefit our people? These concession agreement, how can we sign them for it to benefit our people?
So let me highlight something here, and I can get a broad. And I think most of our lawmakers and people in Liberia already know this, but they ignore it. But let us look at what happens. And I always like to blame the lawmakers as opposed to the executive. I'm not saying executive are not to be blamed, because they get the contract, they take it to the lawmakers. But the reason I tend to blame the lawmakers, because they are the people representative. They are the one that are in that district number 1 in Bon County. And let me give you one of my frustration here, because this is something that I'm looking at. Let me use that as an example. For example, right now in my hometown, Baila, because I'm so angry about this situation that I want to really bring it out and let people start to hear about it.
Please, bro. Go ahead.
In my hometown, Baila, we have our traditional land. And this is what today Africa is not going anywhere, because we keep losing our identity, and we keep selling our identity to people, right? And we don't care. In my hometown, we for hundreds, for years, at least 100 years, we have had certain part of our land that was traditional land that our people reserved. They preserved those land and kept it sacred. Okay, along the river bank of St. John River, they kept it sacred. Now, In recent days, we're getting to understand that that land was sold to a Chinese company to build some quote unquote rubber factory by the river, destroying the heritage of that town, destroying the history of that town, destroying the tradition of that town. Okay. And they sell, according to what we're hearing, if it is true, over 100 acres of land for 18,000 United States dollars. But they don't think about the repercussion. So the farmland that the people had, some bunch of criminals, I will call them, they can do whatever they want to say about me, but bunch of criminals go and sell the land for little or nothing, of money that if they had asked them, oh, we could pay and just preserve that land for our people. They sell the land to a Chinese company in the pretense of opening rubber factory. Now, what is the agreement? Because this is where I'm coming. The first agreement, if this was something that was worthwhile doing or worth doing, the first thing you would do is, hey, you're going to build rubber factory here. Before you can clear the land, before you clear the whole land, let's build this part of this place. Let's build a training center. They built training center there so that our citizens can be trained on how to make this rubber. That's it. Two, this rubber that you bring in, this factory you're going to bring, is going to start polluting. Let us discuss solution to that pollution that is going to create, because that St. John River, I sitting here, I fishing there to go to school, to feed myself. My brothers then did the same thing. My father, in fact, that school, that particular St. John River, anybody from Bala will tell you. My father, George C. Sapolusius. That's the place. Anybody who is old enough will tell you that that's what he used to send him and two other siblings to school throughout. That river is going to be polluted from the chemicals that those guys will be putting in there. There's a waterfall there. That waterfall, if you manage it, it's valued millions of dollars, because that is something that can provide electricity for a whole region. Go have a waterfall to that place. So the first thing we do, what I would do with the waterfall, are we building a hydro that will provide electricity for this town and the neighboring villages? That's another one. Three, hospital, because it's going to create pollution. Do you have an EPA that is assessing all of these things to make sure that the pollution that is going to cause, what we're going to control, how we're going to control the pollution? Cancer is going to come from there. Do you have a budget set aside for people who will be affected by cancer from these chemicals that will be put in the water that they will get treatment for? And if that person is unable to work to benefit their family, do you have money that will sponsor his or her children to go to school and get training so that they can be able to support their family? So those are all things that you're supposed to put in place before you start selling a huge, besides losing our cultural identity, that is just that reckless or sale of land they did. Besides losing our cultural identity, these are the environmental impact that it's going to have. People are going to lose their livelihood, because that waterfall I'm talking about, anyone from that region will tell you that's where we used to get crawfish from. The guy used to go and build a fence across the St. John River, and there they will get crawfish especially at this time. During this time, when you go to Baila, you have Google crawfish. That was somebody's livelihood. So all those things going to get damaged. So the Liberian government, when you sign a concession agreement, those are things you should be thinking about: education, training, healthcare, schools. We have a school that is in our place that was built in the 60s. Nobody is thinking about making it better. Now you go and sell a land for $18,000. The school is not even included.
Suppose, are the Liberian government or are our Liberian people even following the rules and regulations that are set forth? For example, there's a claim out there that says foreigners are not supposed to own land in Liberia. So how do you sell 100 acres of land? Shouldn't that land have been leased to the Chinese entity instead of being sold, right? And the thing is, once somebody owns something, now the Chinese will decide how that waterfall will get used, because it's their property. You understand? It's no longer the community's property. So they can decide to sell that back to the Liberian government or sell it to the Liberian people since they are the owner of that property. So when we even go into the Ministry of Lands and Mines or wherever we do our land registration, when you see a Chinese name on there, doesn't somebody say, hey, this is not a Liberian name? Should this land shouldn't be sold to this person? Is our whole system messed up that we keep making the same mistake over and over from selling a 1 million acre to Firestone for $60,000? We're now selling 100 acres of land to a Chinese company for $18,000. Why do we keep making the same mistake? Every generation keep making the same mistake. What is happening to our people? What's going on, Sapolosia? Do we need some kind of help as a nation?
But still, I don't know if I'm going to say it's a mistake, because from what I understand, mistake definition is something that is not intentional, right? It's something you were working on something and you accidentally did something, then it become a mistake. But things that you're looking at, you seeing the effect of the thing and doing it, that's become intentional behavior. So it is no longer a mistake. The reason these things are happening because of lack of accountability. Steve, I'm telling you, if when we started, let's look at post-war, let's forget about pre-war Liberia, because pre-war Liberia, there was some semblance of responsibility, right? With bomb mines and other places. But since post-war Liberia, corruption have been on the rise.
At every level of society.
At every level of society. And there is absolutely no accountability. And since there is no accountability, it will continue to happen. So that's the, I mean, nobody can come from outside. Only Liberians can stop it.
I say it's only accountability or education, because accountability is, how can you account for something if the person don't know what they are being held accountable for, right?
Okay.
Yes.
So if you say, let's put it this way: if you have your child, your young baby, right, and they try to put a hand on something and you slap it, then they watch you. The next time you slap it, you think they'll put a hand there. You didn't have to put that and say, put your hand up, put your hand there, because that form of education, accountability will set the premise.
No, but in order to be accountable for something, even our government officials that are signing these concession agreement, once they sign it, they walk away, nobody hold them accountable, right? So our justice, our three form of government, the check and balance is not checking, right? Right? Somebody said, because we have the three form of government so that people can check each other. When the president make a decision, the other two bodies supposed to check the president and say, hey, that whatever decision you made is wrong. So when the representative or senator sign a concession, it's supposed to go to the president's office. He's supposed to veto it and say, no, this is not better for Liberia. Or it's supposed to go to the judiciary and say, this should say, no, it's not beneficial for our people. We're not letting it happen. But everybody palm gets licked. Everybody palm get greased. Once everybody palm get greased, the things go on. So who will be the how you call it, the check and balance chief if everybody is only in it for themselves? Sapolosia, are we wasting our time even on this platform to keep talking about things like that when the people that are making the decisions, they are the most corrupt people in our country? How can we help our people?
So I'm gonna go about it from a I guess a radical or unusual angle, because we have four by right, according to what we have seen in our political discourse over the years. We have four entities that's supposed to check one another, right? We got the executive, the legislature, which is the first branch, the executive and the judiciary, and then the fourth estate, which is the media. But everyone is not compromised because of situations, right? Because everybody want to lick their hand. But I think there's a group that got more to lose, that are not using the weight that they have. And it is you and I, we the diaspora Liberians. I think we're not using the weight that we have. We're not making it, we're not manifesting it in a way that we can be a pressure group. Look, don't forget history. In the 1970s and the 1980s, the ULAA was determining who became president in Liberia. Don't forget that. It was a diaspora entity. The ULAA, where Chancellor came from, is the simply Ellen Johnson came from. Don't forget that. Yeah. So they were diaspora Liberians, but they had influence in Liberia. So we shouldn't forget that. We shouldn't forget. You see, that's why even though people say Emmanuel is a science student, but for me, I look at historical facts because we who study science will base our stuff on data analysis. The ULA had that power. What makes us different? In fact, we should be more sophisticated to do that. Most of us. Why? Because most of us experienced the war and we came to the States. We were victim of the war and we came to the States. So we should use those things and use it to our means. Because besides that, the ULAA then, or the diaspora librarian then, were not really directly involved in spending money to the day-to-day librarian activities, like sending money to their relative. I was not receiving money in the 80s from somebody in America. No, I didn't care. And most librarians didn't care. However, our time, we got more influence and we should have more influence than the diaspora librarian then. But we are not using our influence the right way. Why? Because some people among us, instead of focusing on the big picture of Liberia, we want to farm because we came to America. We don't want to be competitive. We want to use these offices to go back to get jobs from the next government instead of thinking about the bigger picture. You talk about thinking about strategies, projects that we can undertake in Liberia and develop the system, change the system from the way it is, the system of corruption, the system of non-accountability, the system of non-competitiveness. We want to be comfortable with it. You can't Liberian living from America and say, my man, the country is sweet, the Liberia is sweet. The only reason they see in Liberia is sweet because the reckless behavior that they see in Liberia, they condone it. They can't make it in America. And those are the diaspora Liberians, the Liberians in Liberia are supposed to get rid of. If the man comes from America and behaving like you or worse than you in Liberia, get rid of him. Because those are the people that tarnishing hard-earned character that we have built in the States. Those are the guys that are destroying it. But we, the diaspora Liberians and Liberian organization, we need to come together with one voice, fighting for our country, fighting for the nation, fighting for the people. Because when Liberia become better, I don't have to work in America and keep sending money to Liberia. Let us change that. If Liberia become better, where in my hometown, for example, yes, if the intention was right for that factory they want to build in Baila, there are suitable areas that we can put that factory. It doesn't have to be by the river, because I know they're just using the rubber factory as a pretense to go and start looking for minerals in our river. Somebody have checked in our river and found something, and they want to use that so-called quote-unquote rubber factory as a pretense to go and start mining whatever they want to mine in our river. I think that's what it is. But we could find a suitable place and put it somewhere else. Let them do their manufacturing there, but let them have these conditions. Build training centers so that when the concession agreement or whatever closes, those people that you live in can use whatever institution that you left to start doing it for themselves. That's what we, the diaspora Liberian, need to start putting together and working together as a team, not working to go and find job in Liberian government. No, we should work with the government to create system that will work in Liberia so that when I leave from here, if I say I want to go and work in Liberia, there is a system, the same that here, that I can use in Liberia and don't have to steal from nobody. That's what we should be doing. You mute us, Steve.
So thank you for that great point. Again, this is painful for all of us, right? Because you sit here, you see, for example, countries that don't have anything close to what you have as a country. Now, in terms of natural resources, they are doing better than you. And each time our folks keep making the same error over and over for the greed, for the purpose of benefit themselves and things like that. So in my research, I wanted to find out if there's any country out there in Africa, for example, that is doing well in terms of concession agreement. And I was fortunate to find a few countries. I know we mentioned Rwanda a lot, but Botswana came up as number one. Botswana came up as number one. And I would like to share this with people before they say a lot, just so they can read too for themselves. Because Liberia keep making the same mistake over and over. From Firestone should be a lesson learned, right? That every other concession agreement that we sign should benefit our people. And folks, if you are watching, we are talking about the disadvantages and advantages of concession agreement. Is concession even a bad thing or is it a good thing, right? If it is good, then why aren't we benefiting from it? So that's what we are discussing here today. So if you want to participate, the number is on the line here. You can call in at 682-503-9906. And my own brother Sapolosia here, he just told you guys a story about his own village where he was born, where they buried his neighbor's friend. His name, the whole land now that he used to run on to say he strapped them. It's been sold to some Chinese company for $18,000 for 100 acres of land. You and myself, Liberian here, we can buy that kind of land, but we can sell it to foreigner for that kind of purpose. So you tell me, how are we benefiting from all these things that are happening in our country, the concessions that are being signed, B Mountain, Stella Meta, all these things? How can we benefit? So to go forward to end the show, we want to talk about how we can sign concession agreement to benefit Liberia. So I'm going to share this. Let's talk about Botswana. Botswana, for example, they said is considered the gold standard when it comes to concession agreement. Every concession agreement that is signed in Botswana is either 50-50 or somewhere or the other, the government negotiates such that by the time that concession is over, the contract is over. Hold on, we're getting a call in, so I'll pause here. Let me take the call. Okay, Sapolos here.
Go ahead.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Liberia. Shall rise your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, what's up?
Welcome, brother. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, welcome, Brother Moses.
Yeah, I got a message later on about I just went to another service other than my own church. So when I got back, but man, I prepared it last time. So look, before I even sorry for saying it live, but look, anyway, we thought I went in the background, but I expected a prior notice at the time the change of the program, So when we ask for accountability from our people every day, we come here for accountability. We ourselves we should be accountable. Hey, let me get wicked. You have me. I put my cupboard together, got all my stuff together. Next thing when I came on, the guy said, "Oh." So yeah, but anyway, I came in from my cupboard. So I lost all my stuff.
Your thought left me a best station. I'm sorry, man. You got best.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but today, man, I was invited to another service. But anyway, look, this is a great topic, guys. But I have few points. So, I mean, we all know this whole concession thing comes about based on things that is mainly for things that the government cannot do, right? So concession is like if Tibo is the president of Liberia or Sapolis is the president of Liberia or he runs the government of Liberia and we do not have the resources with mining. We don't have the resources to do oil exploration, all those things. So what we do is we bring in a company. We bring in a company that has the tools because we don't have the tools. We don't have the technical know-how. We don't have the resources. We don't have it. So what we do, we bring in the company. So when we bring the company, we sign the agreement with them. Like, well, we have this money either in Riverside County or in Grangeda County, but we want you to do the mining, and we sign this agreement. So, as we sign this agreement, this is what you're supposed to do, and this is what this is our portion of the agreement, and this is your portion of the agreement. So expect you to live up to your part of it. We live up to our part. But my question I ask you guys is, and this is not limited to Liberia. I think we heard about in Nigeria, the Bakassu Peninsula, when EP were over there, and the people, man, if you watch the video, man, that's how they had those Bakassi boys. They took up arms and they started because they were angry because they were not benefiting. They were not benefiting anything from BP. People were just exploring the oil, and the people just living in total destitution.
Mm-hmm.
Their fish were dying in the water for pollution and other things. So my question is, guys, why is it that, I was even tapping it down before I called. Why is it that the concessor, like the company coming in, why is it that they always benefit that? They benefit for some reason. They never live up to their part of the agreement. We see it from outside America. I mean, there's video out there. Whatever were in the agreement for them to do, they didn't do it. They're not building stuff. They're not, they're not building a better facility there for the people to benefit. And right now in Riverside County, bro, there's a part of Riverside, my cousin sent me that video, the mining upstream, and you can see the dirty water, and the other people downstream. It's one lake river, but it's a long river. And the people downstream, they don't even know what's going on, but their water keep getting dirty. But not knowing the people from upstream, they mining gold, they're messing up the whole place. So why is it like that? For some reason, this concession agreement, and I say I don't want to limit it to Liberia because I've seen it in a lot of places. Those people don't live up to their expectation. Why is it that they always benefit? The company come in, they benefit. Is it because of fear that the government don't want them to pull off when they force them to do it, or what is going on with this concession agreement? Why is it not balanced always?
Yeah, so let me chime in, then Sapolosia will come up with a mean answer too, right? But I think it's people not knowing the value of what they have, right? And I'll give you a typical example. Halliburton, there was a company called Halliburton. They are out there, they're still mining gold in Liberia. Halliburton have a video out there, and this guy is publicly bragging that he came to Liberia. He got so much benefit from mining in Liberia, and he paid small money for what he got compared to what he paid for in Malay. He said he paid more money for less value in Malay, and then in Liberia, he paid less money for more value. They found a whole area, like a whole rack of gold. Their video show it, that this whole place was like gold. And this guy said he paid less than the value of gold on the market at that time. So first thing that is happening in Liberia is we go to the concession table as beggars. We don't see ourselves as the value add here. We come to the table and say, hey, I'm coming to beg you to come and to get my resources, right? That's the first problem we have. So the people going to the negotiating table have to know the value they are bringing to the table. That's the first problem. The next problem is understanding the market value of the product your people are coming to research, and then lack of expertise, right? If you don't have the expertise on the ground, maybe partner with a country like Botswana. Let Africa come up with a tag team for negotiating, that we all can drop in that bucket. Maybe even the whole West Africa can come up with a team of concession negotiator that say, all right, if people coming, since Liberia don't have expertise in gold or in mining, we're going to send our expert from Botswana that understand mining, that can help Liberia negotiate a better price, right? Even if we have to pay that person to come to Liberia to do it, that person come with Liberia, pay them, we negotiate a concession, Liberia benefit in the long run. But if we do not have the expertise, and tell me, Riverside Pro, your man Yeke, I'm not putting anybody on the table, your man Yeke, or even one of our other senators, then what do they know about natural resources that when they sit down on a discussion table that they are discussing to benefit Liberia? Sapolosi, I'll let you chime in.
So I would take it from, because Riverside Pro talk about Africa as a continent. For me, I like to look at things from the historical facts. We should not forget, and people tend to just look at the Berlin Conference as something that was just out of the sky. It was a plan. The divided you are into small economies, the difficult it is to fight the bigger economy. Look at the United States. You got 50 states. Texas is larger than many African countries, but it is still part of the United States. The resources that the United States has, that is what carried their budget up to trillions of dollars. If they are going to the economy, to the economic market to buy a certain value, the money they're coming with and the money Liberia is coming with, Liberia is nothing. So the Berlin Conference was intentionally done to create many little African countries. And that is why when Kwame Nkrumah came up in the 60s, after coming to the United States and got education and sometime in Europe, he felt like, look, we needed to rethink Instead of us having these little countries fighting for their independence, let us fight for a united Africa. If we had the 54 countries that we have now as one country, we have our own strong military, we have our own resources, because that's how we become paralyzed. We keep talking, I keep hearing us talk about, oh, we don't have to train manpower. When do we get trained? How did the European get trained? When in fact they use our labor. You, Stephen, you sit in America. It is your education that you're using to pay tax to the American government in Texas. It is my skills. It's the skills of River says that is using. Where did they come from? You went to school and learned. We learn these things in our country. So it's not that we don't have the ability to do it. But when you break people up, right now we're still talking about African country accepting another African. Now in 2026, we're talking about African countries saying, "Oh, I can allow this country to come to my country without visa." In fact, we got South Africa telling Africans to leave their country. So as long as we're still sitting there and thinking the man who suppressed us, the man who oppressed us, the man who colonized us, the man who enslaved us is our rescuer, we'll continue to be where we are. What we need to do is follow other countries' example. Burkina Faso may be the worst example to people who don't understand what it means to be an African, but to me, Burkina Faso is one of the best examples we can follow now, but they have proven what Makafoko did in Tanzania when he nationalized their resources, and we saw what Tanzania was doing. We have seen what is happening in Namibia. They are doing it and not regretting it. You do me, I do you. So until we can start shutting down some of these embassies that we're calling, we let it call them our long-term international partner. No, they are your long-term international masters. You're not your partner. Partnership is you guys negotiate and talk at an equal level. But if I'm telling you this is what you should do, and this way, you're not a partner. I'm your master. So until we can stop that, my brother, we'll continue to be where we are. That's how I want to handle that.
Yeah, will you agree with me that because we lack the expertise. So when we come into this negotiating table, we don't have the know-how.
Yeah.
I wouldn't agree with that. I would not agree with that, because
let me come in. Sapolosia asking you on the one.
No, but I don't agree with that, because we're not coming when we're coming to the board first. And I said it earlier. I told you.
Hold on, the man talking, man. Go ahead.
Okay.
No, Riverside Pro, go ahead. Sapolosia, I won't call your time. Go ahead.
You made a great point. You know, Trump got a word. Trump got a famous word he always use. He said in his conference, he said Ukraine don't have the car. So what he said, that's why we use that word. We don't have the card. We don't have the card. You know, Trump would use that word. He said Iran don't have the card, which means they don't have that bargaining power. You know, they are more at the disadvantage. So, you know, people back in days, I don't know how old you are, but for me, back in days, back up here over there, people used to bust cross run. Remember how they used to sell cross runs? They used to bust it with hammer. They used to bust it with hammer and party up small, right? That's the only way we didn't have those big machinery, those blasting. But from what I heard now, they got Chinese people they got those blasting thing where they pick down those rocks. That's the only thing we knew back then. So imagine if somebody was coming in at the time and said that, you know, we're picking up machinery instead of you're doing it manually. You know, somebody eye getting the rock and pop up in somebody's eye. You know, blind there or bust their eye or something injured there, we got to check that with passing, you know. So if the man is coming, he will put it on. You can go with busting that thing with hammer. If the man want to tell you would be at a disadvantage. Because the man telling you, says, imagine how many of these things you were doing per day, doing it with hammer. Imagine that limited amount. This man is going to blast his those rocks. The man is giving you probably 5 or 10 times what you were getting manually. So you know when you're when you come to an agreement right now, you will be even though that's your rock. Don't get me wrong, the rock is yours, but people based on the high demand of people want construction and other things, you are not coming up with the amount You're not coming up with you're not meeting the quota of the people. You're not meeting your goal in terms of productivity. So that man is coming and telling people, all your customers are going to leave you because you can't even give the people their product. I got this blasting machine. Everybody push will be on time. See what you can back in with the man. The man says, I need 75% of this whole do what it is. You get 25%. So I agree. And with stop losing with the nationalization, I agree. But guys, maybe we can have a whole topic on it. This whole nationalization thing we hear about, I think it's a broad term we always use it. When you say, some people always say, "Oh, let's privatize this one, water is well, let's privatize this." We have to discuss it. Then, what does it mean when you say nationalization? Just because you nationalize something doesn't mean you have the resources, or you just try to make it like, oh, we want only Liberia to do this. I mean, is it sustainable in Liberia? That's the thing. So let me start there. So stop confirming.
Yeah. So and that use your the two statements you made, and I will kind of indicate why Donald Trump used that. And just because he says it doesn't mean it's true, because it has been proven that even Russia, as they used to say, Ukraine don't have the car, Ukraine don't have the car. How many years have been saying Russia tried? They have not done anything yet. In fact, right now Russia is being on. So those are how do you call it? Media propaganda that somebody will use, but that's wartime propaganda that you use to show that you got leverage. Yeah, Ukraine. They say, or Iran. They say we're going to take a few days. Within 4 months. So just because somebody throw wartime propaganda doesn't mean it's happening. And it's the same thing they keep telling the Africans. They say you don't know, you cannot lead yourself. You cannot lead yourself. And again, I will remind Africans, when our war was fighting, they told us Africans could not manage crisis. It was ECOMO that solved Liberia's problem. It was ECOMO who did everything. And when they saw that ECOMO was at the verge of doing something that the United Nations have never done in our history, that's when they changed the name.
Yeah.
That's when they changed the name to UNMIL. So just because they give all this propaganda and we want to sit and believe it, it hurts me a lot sometimes when I hear these things. Now let's come back to the crush rag. Let's take the crush rag as an example. If we look at the crush rags in Liberia, how much are you paying for the machine the guy is bringing from China or wherever? You can go and I see China market. The government, if they are intentional to help the Liberian people, they can go take the money you're using to get to a lawmaker to buy him car every 3 years. Take that money, go to China, buy the machine. The Chinese company that you buy it from will train your people. We're in the 21st century. That's what's happening. They will train your people, and your people will be able to use that machine. So we shouldn't keep saying we don't have the brain power, we don't have the. We have it, but we are not intentional when we're talking about doing these things.
And
the same money.
Mm-hmm.
The same money. We don't have the machine. Yes, it's true. But if we can take some of the wasted money we're using to spend $10 million to go buy to go build houses for one person, we can use that money, get the machine, bring it to Liberia, train Liberians, and you empower a group of people.
Yeah, and just
have the resources, but we don't want to use it because of greed, selfishness, and I don't even know what to say.
And Sabalosi, a good point, and I totally agree with you on that one. And I would just add in support of what you say. And the Chinese guy, right, where they even sit in their office is they don't build anything to benefit the country. That's the first thing. You understand? This guy is sitting in where I was buying my rack from. This guy is sitting in a container. In a container, like a container that when you bring goods in. They just build it and they cut it open. They cut it open and then put glass in, something almost like a glass, dirty, not even beneficial to the Liberian people. So they don't care about the place they are selling. That's the first thing. Then this guy is so disrespectful. So Sapolosia, very disrespectful. And you know what they do? They said they don't receive mobile money. Reason being, they don't want. If the government of Liberia or anybody want to track how much they get a day, they don't want no electronic record. So you go there, you have to pay cash. You have to pay cash. That guy refused to take mobile money from me when I was there. And I believe the sole reason is they do not want to get tracked. Mm-hmm. Because if I give this guy, let's say 1,000 people come there and buy rack at $65, right? That's a lot of $650,000 right there, right? You don't want to report that to the government. In a day, you're making 600. In a month, you're making $650,000. You don't want to report it to the government or say you're getting taxed. Because I bought about 4 loads of rack, right, at $65, right. So basically, this guy is making money, but he doesn't want to report it because if I'm getting cash and I don't have a cash register to say everybody that come in and pay to cash register, I don't have to show any proof that I'm making money. That's the first thing. Then the next thing, in reference to what you said about the machine, the same machine, the rack machine, I see them on Facebook all the time. The government of Liberia can afford 10 or 20 of that machine any day. Any day, the government of Liberia can afford 10 or 20. But who have the will or who have the mindset to say Liberia or Liberia will produce our own rack? We will train our people. We'll have somebody leading this, and it could be something that the public labor ministry or somebody run, and that could be part of a way they're creating jobs for Liberian people. But imagine the sin that on our ground, our president claimed that how can we allow foreigners to be selling sin to us, but yet we sit there and we're not doing anything about it.
Somebody come in.
No, go ahead, Russell. Go ahead.
So guys, I don't want to great point. Okay, so I'm make this example. I'm not trying to minimize this because we're talking about on a national level, but let me just bring it from a little personal level, and then I can see the video and then so for example, people is catching a city bus because people feel like they getting a car, maybe where he works is long distance, maybe mileage wide and maintenance and gas and other things. So I know a lot of people who catch the city bus in this one. I mean, you catch. They don't have time for all that maintenance and other things. So that's what I get equipment. Just think about this, guys. You know how many MTA buses? Remember back in the day when we say MTA. Go right now in Liberia. You got MTA buses broke down years ago. I'm talking about decades ago. We used to have those MTA buses. That one with the rubber in the middle, almost like the British thing.
Yeah.
A lot broke down because we did not have the maintenance, we did not have the expertise. Those parts was expensive. You had to order those parts. You did not have the people to do a lot of those buses today. Maybe they made a lot of them with Copa. Even those Caterpillar normal days. I remember when I went to Rosa, they still have one Caterpillar parking. There's a part of Rosa where they used to go do illegal logging. The rebel wide. Those Caterpillars still parking it because number one, they have a way to remove it without it. So when we're talking about this thing, we have to look at it from different point of view. It's like a lot of these factories that somehow we came to America, we started working in. Say, for example, you had a factory that was making maybe plastic bottle here. It's not why you think the plastic bottle people can say, well, we're going to have our own machine to make our own bottle and that thing. But then they got a whole different company that is making the bottle for them and sending it to them because they're looking at the cost, they're looking at the maintenance, they're looking at a whole lot of things. So I agree with you guys, though, but then we have to look at a lot. I think that's where, look, to repair some things, especially in this America, I noticed something here. I took my trousers somewhere, it has like a little thing on it. I said, let me go patch it. My leg trousers I bought cheap from Walmart. The money charged me, the tailor charged me. It was not even the money that I bought up there. I'm like, oh, wow. So one thing I noticed here in America to repair things here is more expensive than buying a new one.
So Russell,
that's why it's all.
Russell Pro, talking about the trousers, I know we almost out of time, but let me just chime in, right? When we're talking about these things, we're not just looking at a small picture, right? When you're setting up as a country, right? If you're setting up something, you have to look at the big picture. Who's going to do the maintenance? That's why we're sending people to the factory. When we're buying when you go to any country, any company, even when I was doing some research to start some business in Liberia, the company itself walk you through training to know the equipment. And then they have a maintenance plan that you pay for, but over time, your people who have gotten the skills that you don't have to pay them to send their experts. But part of your initial purchase, you have a maintenance plan that includes training of your staff to fix the machine. And then you for parts and services, you have a country near your country that supplies the parts. You understand? So when we as a country buy equipment, we're not just going. That's why you see so many caterpillars and all around Morovia that are not working anymore, because we don't think about the big picture. We have to set up our own mechanic shop, train people. That's why we have trade schools in Liberia, training children to learn how to do mechanic, to fix big cars and all those kind of stuff. So when we deciding to go into these businesses, we're not just buying the equipment, we're sending people to be the maintainers. Like they will go to the factory, learn how to fix that product, and that person will come and they will train 10 other individuals to say, those people will be on my team. I will be the supervisor. I have these people ready to fix this thing anytime. So we have to look at the big picture. Riverside Pro, how do we create jobs? How do we create opportunities if we keep repeating the same mistake over and over? I'll stop there. Sapolosia, go ahead.
No, but Steve, you're right, right? So and that's what I said initially. We are in the 21st century. If you go to buy equipment from anybody, it's a part of the contract. If you want to, even when myself, I was trying to buy some machine from China. They got a package where you just buy the equipment and you take it to China. They got another package where you buy the equipment, they can send somebody with that particular package, and they train your people for 3 to 6 months. Okay. Even myself, if I want to open a laboratory, that's why I keep trying to go back home to train the people before I can open my laboratory, because I want to train you on the devices and show you what you need to know, so that when I bring mine, I don't have to start training, because then I will start losing money.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I train the people ahead of time, when the machine comes, then they start working, I start producing right away. I start giving a return. Okay. And that's exactly what we're supposed to do. Now, it is not a magic. The company you're talking about bringing machine in, they got to still have maintenance. Where they're getting the parts from. They see where they're getting the parts, they see where the Liberian government can get parts. If they are intentional about it. That's why I say they should be intentional about it. You have to have a plan. The same problem they have with yellow machine. And I was the same question when they talking about yellow machine from the beginning. On the same show, someone asked that same question. The yellow machine they're buying, do they have maintenance shop in the country? Do they train? Have they trained Liberians in the country? Those are things you have to consider before you start doing things. But because we're not doing it all the time, we're still doing the same thing. That won't happen. So what they do is buying equipment. It's only good for the 1 or 2 years, because most machine you buy, that's what it's good for. And looking at our terrain, first of all, and that's what China has started doing. What China have started doing is they look at your terrain before you buy your stuff. To buy according to, they fix the material according to your terrain, so that it can last. If that is 5 or 10 years, it can last for that time. Needs to get out of the habit of just buying things without maintenance plan, without or supplying that system. It's everywhere, even the healthcare.
Hello, welcome to Liberia Rice. Your name and where you calling from?
My name is Orlando, calling from Houston, Texas.
Alonso, welcome to Liberia Rice. Go ahead, please.
Welcome, Mr. Nati. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, can you lower your audio, and then you can speak now? You're on live. Go ahead.
Yes, this is Orlando Nyati. I want to go a different direction. If I can obtain approval.
Go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, Emmanuel. That's
positive.
I just want to pay. I just want to pay courtesy to some. Yes, I just want to pay courtesy to somebody. Yes, Emmanuel, if you can give me an approval.
Go ahead. You gotta lower the background. There's stuff in the background.
I'm going a different direction. Today I want to pay tribute to Emmanuel Papolosio.
We're listening. Yeah, we don't have to respond to you every time. Just talk. We'll listen.
Okay, no problem. So I just want to pay tribute to Emmanuel Papolosio. This is a man who is in this community that people don't respect or people don't understand who this man is. But Emmanuel, today I just want to recognize your importance in the Liberian community. Yeah. I want to recognize Emmanuel's importance in the Liberian community. Emmanuel is a role model for the Liberian community. Emmanuel is a role model because this man has been married for years. Emmanuel is a man who has served the American government. Emmanuel is the person who is now serving on the Liberian board as the chairman. Emmanuel, today I just want to recognize you. I want to pay this special tribute to you publicly on behalf of my family, on behalf of the Liberian community, for what you have been doing. You are a successful Liberian. You are a role model. You are somebody who is considered a mentor to the community. You are someone serving a capacity as an advocate. You are serving as an educator to the Liberian community. And people don't know this, how successful you are to the world and to the Liberian community. And I just want to thank you for what you have been doing for the community and the world at large. I want you to continue with this because you are serving and educating people. Thank you for the many years of marriage. Thank you for your education. Thank you for your success. Thank you for serving American government as a military personnel. Thank you for being a chairman of the Liberian community. Oh, thank you. That is a great blessing for you, and you are serving us as a role model. You and your family and your entire family. I want to thank you for that. You are in a role for some of us. We are seeing what you are doing, and we are following your footsteps. Our children are following your footsteps, and people in this world and the Liberian community are watching you and following your footsteps. So on this day, my very first time to talk on social media, it is this day to recognize you in Madrid and continue to do what you are doing. And as we appreciate you as a community and as a family. Thank you. I appreciate that, Madrid. Continue doing what is right. And people will know tomorrow your legacy and your education to the Liberian community. I appreciate you, Madrid.
Thank you so much. It's an honor, it's a privilege to serve, and I didn't know it was being recognized. But again, thank you for that. I mean, you got me sweating. You got me sweating because I don't even know how to respond. But I really appreciate that, and I thank God that He put me here to do what I'm doing, and I love doing what I'm doing. That is to serve my people, and I will continue to do. And I thank you again for acknowledging that, Mr. Nyanti, and I respect you as well.
Thank you so much for calling, Mr. Yanti. We appreciate you calling for the first time on Liberia Shall Rise. So thank our own brother for his service. So, Mr. Sapolosia, I don't know what to say, just to tell you thank you and keep up the good work. Because to even do this thing to talk about Liberia is a work on its own. So thank you for what you are doing on behalf of Houston and the Liberian community too. So, Mr. Yanti. Thank you. Do you have anything else you want to add before we let you go?
I don't know what to say, just to tell you thank you and keep up the good work. Because to even do this thing to talk about Liberia is a work on its own.
I think I'm gonna end. Okay. All right, Mr. Sapolosia, let's end the show. Again, thank you so much. I see Jerry just joined us. Jerry Dolo, thank you for watching. River says Pro, we had you on the call. Thoughts, DJ2 in Liberia, thank you so much. DJ2 said the people platform, indeed. We are striving for the people of Liberia. So thank you so much for joining us, DJ2 from Freedom FM. River says Pro, our own Liberian brother from another mother. And then we have Jerry also, and all of you who watching, by having commented or said anything, please share the show for us and invite your friends to Liberia Shall Rise. Eventually, if we all do the best for Liberia, the things that we are discussing here, if our government put actions in place to take a little bit even 10% of the actions that we are suggesting here, Liberia will indeed rise. Mr. Sapolosia, after Mr. Yenti has given you such a wonderful praise, I just want to say thank you. And I would like for you to end the show with that passion you have for our Liberian community. Please, your final words for us to end the show. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, my brother, and thank you to our audience. Look, we do this because we love our country. That's why we share and we share our experiences or our passion with you because that country is our country. We love it, but I believe that concession agreements in Liberia have not benefited our people, and are now getting to feel what most people have felt in the past. I know we'll talk about it from a distance, but now it's not at my doorstep, and I'm going to fight what I can fight in my will and power to see what we can do to benefit our people, even if it goes forward with this project. But again, I think we can solve Liberia's problem. It is going to take Liberians to solve Liberia's problem. It's not going to take anybody. You cannot expect the man who wants you to be down to bring you up. It's not going to happen. Why? Because that person is benefiting from your suffering. So let us now redirect our channel, our responsibility to our people. When we sign a concession agreement, we should not go from the weaker point, thinking that, oh, we don't have the resources, oh, we don't have the manpower, oh, we don't have this. We keep complaining of what we don't have. We're not looking at what we have. We need to start working with what we have and stop complaining about what we don't have. If you start to manage what you have, it's going to be a better thing to develop your country. If I sit in my house every day and say, oh, I don't have this, I don't have salt, it's not going to bring anything to the table. But let me start making use of what I have. And then I can break better decision for tomorrow. And that's what we need to do. We already have the soil rock, the rocks there. We already have young Nigerians in the country that don't have skills to break rock. Once you get the machine, you show the guy what to do, they will learn. And let me make one point here. In Liberia, I went there 2024. I was there. My tire burst. Normally, it would take machine and all this stuff for them to patch that tire. And so it would take 30 to 45 minutes. I had a kid around 13, 14 years old. He did that manually using a jack and I bought a jack for that kid. Hopefully, I'll go back and see him. But he used a jack. He did that thing manually, a jack that was barely working. In 15 minutes, after he patched that thing, he did some kind of manual of some kind of thread or whatever. He patched that tire, and I used that car throughout while I was in Liberia. So the skills are in Liberia. The skills are there. All they need is the opportunity to train. And once they get that training, they can fix any machine. We have seen this thing happen. So the continuous saying that, oh, we don't have the training, oh, we don't have the manpower, those are just excuses for our government official or those in power to continue to control us and lie to us. Those are propaganda to make you feel like you can't make it. But I know Liberians can make it because Liberians are doing it. So it is about time that our Liberian people, especially those in leadership, to start using concession agreement to empower our people instead of making them to be beggars. Let us stop this beggar mentality. Let our people become independent so that our country can develop. Because when they're all in power, Liberians stand to gain. With that, I want to say thank you again, Mr. Nyanti, for your kind words, and I'm humbled to serve you guys. Thank you, Jerry, my brother. River Says Pro, my brother, and thank you, Tutus. Look, God bless you, and thank you, Widow, for joining us. God bless you, and have a wonderful weekend.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
Yeah.
So next week we're gonna do the money, right? The money transfer thing.
Yeah, money transfer?
Yeah, the one that he says Akara's Gray said it will be taking one, not Akara's, Dara's DeLon said it will be taking $1 from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's online. Even this begin send me something about that Chris from the Freedom FM.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we need to stand up against that as fast as possible.
Okay, yeah. I don't mind. I already did my stuff about it. I already got a whole document about it, so I'm good.
All right, so send me the title then we can create a show early instead of
But
waiting.
get used to when the begin put it, put it in a plate. I share with you guys. It's in the whole thing is in the chat room.
Okay.
Yeah, look at Liberation, right? And Freedom FM. It's in there. Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll try to create a show early this week because I don't know if I'll be on with you guys next week. Okay, I should be because my event is at 7. I started to volunteer with FIFA.
Oh, FIFA?
Yeah, the World Cup. So I'm gonna be volunteering. So at least I think if I leave from here by 3 p.m. I should be fine. So I will probably be on.
Okay. All right. Let me. If anything, we can start bringing live from FIFA on LSR.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody. I'll be working, so I don't know if they will let me to go live like that. But you never know how
Okay.
it goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
How it goes.
Oh, we still live?
No, we're done. It says I ended it though.
Yeah, but I don't know why it showing on my side save in show. You guys see Royalties Pro.